crate, summon steel here. Just wanted to ramble on a bit about some things that I've noticed with my latest Sharman build. This isn't it, by the way. This is just some background while I rattle off some stuff, some observations. So I realised that the Sharman was badly overpowered in the offensive. On the offensive side of the scale. However, I found that in trying to make a pure Shaman, that is without multi-classing it, I found that it was a bit light on when it came to defense. I made obviously chose the most archetypical build for the type class, or the class type. I used a savagery plus primal strike two-handed build, and obviously stacked Mog's Pact for my defense, trying to get as much health regen out of that as I could. I did find though, in order to distribute enough points to make the build feel viable, if it was better balanced, that is, I didn't pretend like it was just smashing everything and only investing the minimum amount of points required. I actually built it like I would if the build was actually balanced and I was trying to make a build like that. If the class was already balanced. What I found was that while it did produce very good damage, and that actually aided substantially in its survivability, I did find that the class was a bit light on defense, even with that excellent mechanic in savagery, where you can gain OA and DA by continuing to attack, so you actually benefit from staying in the battle. That to me is really good design. I really appreciate that you guys have done that charge-based design like that. I think it's good. I think it promotes. I honestly don't think you should tamper with the damage values, the OA and DA values that much. I don't believe that they're too high, considering that you have to build them up on. You can't just access them straight away. You actually have to engage in combat and stay in combat in order to take advantage of that bonus. And the fact that they're on a charge, that they're on charge levels, means that you just can't walk straight into combat at full power either. I think that sort of mechanic should probably be optimised a bit more, made to maybe make the player really feel it, because at the moment, I suppose too, because the base values, the base damages are that high on the other stuff, and the percentage damages are that high on the other damage types, that you're probably not feeling that as much, even straight up. So maybe that could be optimised so that the player tends to feel it more, and there's a little bit more pressure on them to stay in battle, to keep looking for the next kill. I think that sort of mechanic is quite intelligent, and it should. I think the more thoughtful players should appreciate that mechanic, and I think it's good. I think it drives people to. Anything that drives them to stay in combat like that and be hunting for the next kill in this sort of game, I think is actually a bonus. The problem I did have with that build though was that even though it did quite a lot of Ah, fuck you, chaos and poison. So you give me lightning and then I'll get fucking chaos and poison with it. Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, it did lack a bit in survivability. Like, I had pretty decent gear. It wasn't double rare or fixed gear on all accounts, but it was still decent gear. I had a ratio of about 2 to 2 to 1 Nature's Bounty, Dragul and Epics on that build. Unfortunately I can't show you the build because it did end up dying while I was in a tanking situation. Well, I probably should have just bugged out, but I thought I would push it, you know, once again to see what it was capable of, how far I could push it, and I ended up pushing it too far, so we lost it, so I can't actually show you the build, but I can tell you that that's basically how the gear was distributed. So I was basically, as you can see, using the Draguls and the Nature's Bounty. I was trying to monopolise the healing, the health regen that I could get off Mogs, which is not really that high. I don't know, I sort of feel like if Mogs is like a group buff, I think it might be better to make it just a player buff, and actually slightly increase the regen rate. Obviously, of course, you're going to have builds where they're going to take Vindictive Flame and their regen's going to be through the roof. I mean, I've already got a build. I know D-Mask worked on a build a while ago, and I definitely know Dickie's got some crazy build stashed away in the pits of his fucking hard drive that basically tanks everything using health regen. So I mean, increasing the bonus on Mogs is probably going to exacerbate that problem. But really, I believe that if you guys cut back on the damage potential of the Sharman, the problem you're going to have is that it doesn't really have that high survivability. Like its base hit points are not that high. Sorry, health points are not that high. And it's the regen. Like I said, I was stacking Draguls, which has got percentage to health regen. I was stacking. I had at least 3 pieces of Nature's Bounty, which has flat health regen, and also has +2 bonuses to Mogs. And I had a piece of Ancient, which also had flat health regen and a bonus. I'm not sure, did that? No, may not have had a bonus to Mogs. Plus I had a couple of plus skills, an item or 2 with some plus skills to Sharman. That was helping me out. And even so, I found that the build, because my health, I think I had 4,700 health, it just wasn't enough of a pool, even though I had a pretty good regen rate. It just wasn't enough of a health pool and it wasn't like I really skimped on health, because I was trying to cut a balance between doing good damage, because obviously it's a damaged focused build, but also having enough health to survive. And I found that I just couldn't get my health pool up high enough to make it work with the amount of health regen that I was getting, which was pretty good anyway. It wasn't like it was poor, but it just couldn't keep up against some of the heavier hero type mobs, or being stuck in a group, say with vitality damage dealers, that sort of thing, where you really unless you've got good vitality resistance, you're just going to get pizzled. So when you guys come to, my suggestion is when you guys come to actually balance the, nerf some of the offensive skills in the shaman, maybe you should be aware though that those offensive skills are some of what's keeping the shaman alive, especially in a pure build. Like I wanted to test the pure build just to see how that would go, and in a pure build setup, I think it's actually the offensive skills that are keeping the dude alive, especially if you like make a two-handed melee focused build where you're not using totems, you're using the health regen to try and get, and a bit of a life pool, a health pool to try and get your health up there. Maybe even increase the base health on the shaman a bit, so that he has got a slightly higher pool when he starts taking mogs and Heart of the Wild. I mean, Heart of the Wild only goes up to 30% really, which is not, I mean, it's good. I'm not saying it's not good if you've got a good base health pool to start with. I sort of feel like the shaman's probably a touch on the low side for that sort of build, like in that, if you're focusing on that side of the shaman as a pure build. Like obviously I could multi-class and take the soldier and go up and drop points. I'd actually made a build like that. Just went up, dropped as far as military conditioning and drop points in there, and fucking what's his name, fucking Menier's Will, and that was it, man. Like that was fine. It just fucking blast through. It had slightly lower damage, but it had a much higher durability rating, so it just fucking blasted through, man. The pure class is probably lacking a bit in that respect, so that's something maybe you guys can consider when you're balancing it. Another thing I found that's worth mentioning is attribute point distribution. Maybe I'm just tripping, but I found that with the attribute points, the build that I had sort of required points in everything. It required an even distribution in everything to really make it work. And obviously if you distribute your attribute points like that, you're not really going to get, you're just going to get like a mediocre sort of spread, which is only going to have a mediocre effect and basically be wasted. So I ended up having to pump two ends up and leave the middle low sort of thing, which probably didn't help the build either, because to some extent, once again, I was using upheaval, up to get the AOE damage in between primal strike going off, because I kept the primal strike untransmuted, so that was basically my AOE. But in between that, I was looking for more AOE to help savagery along, and found that, trying to get the crits, I just couldn't. To get the gear I needed, I had to pump physique and spirit, but I also needed, even with getting the bonuses on, savagery, and also picking up the OA bonuses on the Dragul's gear, and then a couple of. Well, actually, I took probably 50% of my component choices where I could have picked up OA. I used about 50% of them to grab OA, so I wasn't really skimping on it. And that was another reason why probably the health pool was a bit low too, because I was actually trying to push the OA up a bit so I could monopolise, or at least make upheaval feel more useful. Because it's based on a crit proc, which is a good idea, man. Don't get me wrong. I like the idea of a crit proc, because it actually means that whenever the motherfucker procs, it's just going to fucking blast everything, because it's going off on a crit anyway, which is cool, man. I dig that. But then you've got that situation there where you can't really spec for it at this stage. Like, that's fair enough. I mean, that could be something, once we get another 10 levels or something, you no doubt will be able to spec for it. You'll be able to put your stuff But then I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be difficult because all your gear bonuses, all your gear attribute requirements are going to go up too. So, and you've just pumped a few of them up already. So, yeah, I sort of feel that the way the Sharman attributes are on some builds, I'm not saying all of them, but in specifically that pure Sharman build where you're focusing on two-hand, you're going with the most obvious sort of build, two-handed melee build that the class sort of presents to you. It feels like the attribute points are just too scattered. It's just, you need too much from here, too much from here, and too much from here to really make it work the way it could. So it is a fair compromise there. I don't know if you guys are happy with that. You know me, I don't kick up too much of a fuss on unless there's something that I really feel strongly about. Like if you guys are happy to have that level of compromise at level 50, and maybe things will even out further on. You know, as the level cap increases, that's good. I'm good with that, man. I can live with that. You might have to catch some flack from the forums, but you know that's how it goes. I just thought I'd mention that too. So I think I've waffled on for long enough. I hope there's some helpful stuff here. Sorry I didn't type all this up. It would have taken me about 4 times as long. I understand if you guys really don't have time to listen to me, but I sort of did these. I'm doing these you know, commentary vids so that you can just put it on in the background, so you don't even have to stop and listen to the forum. Oh yeah, someone Steele's going to rattle on about some shit. You can just put me on in the background, and maybe I'll say something that clicks with you and is helpful in your balancing and the stuff you're doing, you know, or otherwise you can just fucking turn me the volume down and whatever, dude. So I hope that's helpful, feedback on the Sharman, and I'll try and come back with some more stuff in a bit. Catch you later.